Hi, this is Michael Luther, and I would like to introduce to you our project UMAP, a code generation tool from UML to ABAP. Let me explain to you how you can benefit from using a tool like UMAP and how using UMAP actually works. In a medium-scaled to large software development project, we usually have one or more system architects who map out a general system design that is to be implemented by the development crew. The system architects will then explain their design to the development crew and hope it will get implemented as planned. When each developer then goes back to their desk and starts implementing the requirements, they obviously still remember what was told to them. However, they might each have a different interpretation of what the system design is actually meant to be. These different interpretations of the system architecture by the developers will obviously lead to different implementations of it and therefore to a rather heterogeneous implementation across the system. But it's not all lost, because the unified modeling language allows for a very specific description of what your system architecture is supposed to look like. The great advantage of being this specific in UML is that there's barely any room for misinterpretation or different interpretations, that means, of what the system design is supposed to be. This enables your developers to take the UML diagram, hack it into the system, and everybody will have the same coding derived from the UML diagrams. Now, typing in what is defined by the UML diagrams isn't exactly what your developers like. It is cumbersome work, it is error prone, and it doesn't require much thinking, just typing. Let's suppose, though, that the initial design implementation was a huge success and across the board everybody did the same thing. Now the project really starts to live. And now we're back in real project life. What happens is that your system design will get tested for the very first time against reality. And as a result of this, a lot of times you will find out that your design needs to change. And the question at this point then is, how is that change managed? Most of the times your developers will just implement the changed design on their own and not go through the UML anymore. And that's mainly due to the fact that the UML never gave them a lot of benefit in the first place. It was mainly cumbersome work. So during the course of your project, the positive effects of thinking about how your system is supposed to be designed before actually implementing it might get lost to a degree. And that's because your design and implementation drift apart from one another. And that's where UMAP can help out, because it'll integrate system design in terms of creating a UML diagram into actually implementing the design. So let me first explain to you what the general workflow of using UMAP is. The first thing you will need is a UML modeling tool, which creates a UML file. The UMAP Eclipse plugin is then used to generate a UMAP file out of the UML file. The UMAP file will contain all the information which is required by the UMAP ABAP code generator to actually create all the classes and interfaces on your application server. The UMAP ABAP code generator is a normal ABAP program which you can install on your application server. Okay, let's jump right in. What you see here is our modeling tool. In this case, it's Modelio. We used it to create a very basic class model with a couple of classes and a couple of interfaces. We can now go ahead and export our class model into a UML XML file. We actually like to export directly into the workspace of our UMAP Eclipse installation. We hit export and done. Now, since we've exported right into our workspace, we have it available in our UMAP project right away and can say generate ABAP code from the UML file. This functionality generates the UMAP file into the generated source code folder, and you can then use it to generate your ABAP code. So let's jump into our application server ABAP. We've set up a package into which we want to generate our ABAP coding. Since we've just created the package, it is currently empty. Okay, let's generate some code. We first choose the UMAP file to upload and then press execute. The program analyzes the imported UMAP file and shows you all the development objects it is going to create. You don't see much on this screen because all the imported objects are totally new. If there were just some changes to an object, like a new attribute or a new method, you would actually see that specific change in the component column of the table. The column Keep Source Code is a reference to an additional functionality of UMAP, which is particularly useful when you're refactoring existing applications. By clicking on Import Objects, you trigger the actual import process and the code generation. The log area at the bottom of the screen displays what's happened during the import process. Okay, let's check whether it really worked. When we look into the repository explorer, we can find our classes, our interfaces, with all their methods and properties that were designed in our model. Okay, everybody, that's it for now. There's a lot more about UMAP that we would love to tell you on another day about, especially around refactoring and using UMAP in more complex scenarios. But for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Ciao.